What's up, BA fam? It's your girl, Mandi Money. Welcome to another episode of Brown Ambition and this new thing that I'm trying out called Motivation Monday, where I bring you a highly inspirational one-on-one chat between me and someone iconic, someone who is living their dreams, but someone who has a real story to tell about their journey, someone who's not gonna give you the overnight success, someone who's going to show you the grit, the grind, the resilience that they've had to capture. And my guest this week is the Paige Turner. Paige was on the show actually a couple of years ago, but when I saw that she is the new co-host of one of the most iconic home improvement shows ever, I'm talking about 20 seasons of this show on HGTV, she is now the co-host of Love It or List It. And Paige and I get into all of that, how she got the opportunity to host this iconic show on HGTV network. We talk about a bit about her background, raising 3 baby girls as a single mom, how she uprooted her life, moved to Nashville to raise the girls all on her own, no child support, doing her damn thing, and then moved back to LA in her 40s. And that's when her career took off. So if you're a late bloomer, or you're worried you might be a late bloomer, if you're someone who is thinking about, okay, I have this idea, I really should have started that 5 years ago when I had the idea the first time. How far would I be if I had just done it back then? You need to listen to this episode because Paige is going to motivate you and inspire you with her own story, just by showing you that it's not too late, that there is a plan for all of us, that what is meant for us, it can't miss us. And she's really a testament to just trusting in the journey. I hope y'all enjoy this episode. So we'll take a quick break and be right back with more with my interview with Paige Turner from Love It or List It. Paige Turner, welcome again to Brown Ambition Podcast.
Thank you, Mandi. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a couple of years, but like you said, we had a great conversation. I mean, I was encouraged as well on my side, just seeing all you do, and I can't believe it's been 10 years. I don't think I knew that a couple of years ago, so thank you for having me back.
I'm like a geriatric podcaster, I always say.
You were definitely at the helm of it. Wow. I still haven't started my podcast. I've been saying it for 10 years. I haven't started one yet.
Stop. You can't listen. You're doing enough. You're doing so much. Okay, so the last time you were on the show, at the time you were hosting another, was it also on HGTV? Another show?
Yeah.
So when did this opportunity come up for you to be the host of this brand, this huge brand?
A flagship, right? So 2023, which I was on your podcast to promote season 2 of Fix My Flip. When that season was over and I was waiting to hear back about season 3, I didn't. I didn't hear back about a season 3.
Oh, you
and
didn't?
I went, okay. And then I was told, well, here's some other ideas for you. And I went, The challenge is, this is where ego, and my boyfriend mentioned, I love an acronym he uses for ego, edging God out. My ego came in and said, well, I'm co-creator, I am executive producer, and I am host of Fix My Flip. I created the show tailor-made for me. And you want to pitch me another show. So, this is my inside head. But that's where ego really has to come in. You have to think, okay, in this business, life happens and things change on a dime. I've watched shows get pulled after the 3rd episode. So praise God that I got through a whole season, right? So I have to kind of just sit in my experience in business and on this network that I've now had 2 shows on that span since 2018 and say, okay, so let me trust what the network knows about their audience. And if they see a better fit for me, hey, that means I'm still going to be employed, right? It means I'm still going to have a show if I can connect with it. So a couple of weeks later, they said, hey, we want to get on a Zoom with you and pitch an idea. And I went, that's fine. I don't have a show now, so why not, right? So, but I get on in full glory, like, let's see, and my attitude is great. And I mean, all you can expect is good things when things kind of change direction. And one thing about Paige Turner is that I kind of call myself the queen of pivot. In life, in business, on television, off television, I know how to pivot to stay above water and keep going. Because what's the opposite? You sink, right? So we get on the Zoom with the network, and they're like, well, we think you may have heard of the show, but, hosts have changed, and we want to see if you want to do a chemistry test for Love It or List It. So I fall out of my chair physically. I fall out of my chair. And I pulled myself back up and I said, okay, well, Love It or List It predates me even being on this network by 10 years. This is a flagship, and like you already said, Mandy, iconic show. Absolutely. Sure. Duh. I didn't say that part, but let's go. So I went and did a chemistry test with David. They said, we already know we want you. We just want to make sure that the both of you can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. And so we did it, and they love the chemistry test. I love the chemistry test. It was funny. David is so amazing. Like, he's even more cool in real life than he is on Love It or List It. And now here we are, new co-host.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you really are the queen of pivot. I'm trying hard not to just touch back on everything that we covered the first time you were on the show, but BA fam, I'm gonna link to it in the show notes because y'all need to hear the full arc of Paige's story. I mean, you survived, like we all, if we're here today, we survived the 2008 recession, but you were working in real estate at the time.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about how you were like, should I go get like a job in retail? And you, again, queen of pivot. You had 2 daughters at the time. You still have 2 daughters, but 3 babies. And they were in school. You're a single mom. You're not getting child support. You're worried about, can I pay the mortgage and feed my children?
Yeah.
You talked about trying to figure out how you were going to let them repo your Escalade that you had got, but covertly. Yes.
I did.
Can you meet me around back, you were saying?
Yeah, it was at the Rapco gas station. I missed that Cadillac, but I've had many more cars since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a young mom myself, I've had another baby since I last talked with you.
Mandy,
Yeah.
congratulations.
He's the best. They're the best.
So, is he 1?
2. He turns 2 in 2 weeks.
What's his name?
Remy Raphael.
Oh my gosh.
And then his big brother Rio Francisco, and they are just amazing. And so as a young mom, I just really appreciate that. And I think you were just sharing, these moments that have been really challenging for you, and you've had all these different lives throughout your career. And I just want to say it's nice to see you in this season of thriving and winning.
And thank you.
I mean, you're not an overnight success, and I am hungry for stories like this, hungry for, the reality of like the grit and resilience it takes.
Yeah.
That it's not like you just became Paige Turner and they plucked you out of obscurity. Can you talk about like continuing to believe in yourself, and even as you've had these challenges that you kind of knew you were heading towards something bigger?
Yeah. So yeah, ego has a big play in it, but I think that ego, when you're talking about ego as it aligns with pride and confidence, are 2 completely different paths and lanes. So God tells us we can be confident, and depending on what your belief is, but there's so many universal nuggets you can pull from whatever religion you believe in. But one is that we have a confidence in God. God has given us confidence as human beings to be able to plant our own gardens and eat. Right? To be able to dwell over the land and build houses. So there's a confidence you have to have no matter what you believe in, no matter what your source is. And I have that confidence. And I have that confidence probably from birth, Mandy. I mean, there's some things that you're just born with. It doesn't mean that I've always known how to operate in it, because there's also this false humility that I've had to work through as well. Like, I don't want to be too much to people. Oh, she's too much. So I've kind of had to, I'll say it, just dumb myself down a lot in my earlier years. Now there's a different conference going on. It has nothing to do with television and everything to do with, let me show you my experience is proof that what I do works. And if I can do it, you can do it too. So just with that as my anchor, because that's what I had to have to raise 3 babies with just me and my mom and no child support. Like, I had to have that confidence that, okay, girls, we're going to eat today. And we're going to eat because I'm going to go work. And we're going to eat because I'm going to go work. And I'm going to go get all of these clients and make a lot of money in real estate because that's what I've decided to do. And we're going to do it. Because what's the alternative? Being broke. That makes me itch. So we're not going to do that. I've been there. I'm not going to go back. So there's a confidence that comes from seeing God's plan and from seeing your prayers come to pass. Even what you think are small prayers. And like my prayers used to be just, God, let me have enough baby food for the week. Let me have enough, milk for the week. I remember those prayers, and I've never gone, nor my children, without any of it. So with that same confidence coming into this, world of reality television in the home space, It's the same thing. And sometimes I don't always read the comments, but when I do, I see them. Oh, she's cocky. Oh, she's bossy. Oh, she's loud. I am absolutely all of those things. You know why? Because I work in a business that's filled with men. And if I don't assert myself in a certain way, that's always respectful, but always remembering who the F I am. And if you don't know, you're about to find out, right? Then I wouldn't be where I am on TV or in my career, in real life business. So it's now 5 decades of, life experience and working and watching God work on my behalf. And you know what? Stepping outside of my comfort zone and completely walking in faith sometimes, just trusting that everything's going to work out, but also doing the work while I'm waiting for it to work out. So I never sit idle. Sometimes you have to just sit and watch and wait, but there's always something to do.
Right. Do you feel like, I think fear of failure I think everyone's got that fear. No one wants to fail, but there's a tolerance for it. There's like being fearless, which I don't think actually exists, but then there's fear proof, which is like you can tolerate being afraid and continuing to do the thing. That kind of feels like your journey and it's the mantra that I try to repeat to myself. I'm on this entrepreneurship journey too. And, at various stages. And often it's like what separates someone who is making moves and accomplishing the thing and taking those like day-to-day incremental steps in the grind is someone who gets that this is not the toughest moment they're going to face, but this is a tough moment. And you just got to like push through because there's going to be another one and you got to work that muscle.
I love how you said that fear proof, because in that fear proof, you know what fireproof is. It doesn't mean you can't burn. Mm-hmm. It means that it has elements to where hopefully you'll survive, right? So it's the same with fear. It's like you have to work through it. In the book, The Alchemist, which I try to read every year, at least every other year, the glass maker says, I wanted to go and make the same journey and find the alchemist and do all that, but I'm so scared that now my fear has put me in a position that if I don't do it, I'll never do it, but then I'll never know how it feels to do it, so I'm just going to stay stuck. That's what he said. So my fear is the opposite. Like, no, I am so scared to stay stuck and look back, and I truly believe that, in this universe and with God, that there's nothing new under the sun. So, and we've all been in a place where it's like, I had that idea 20 years ago. But what's the difference between me having the idea and Mandi having the idea, but Mandi actually getting it done? You did the work. You pressed through that fear. You pressed, like, I'm fear proof, but I'm keep, pressing through. And that's what scares me the most. Like somebody else doing it, because I'm competitive. So I'm like, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And I've experienced myself passing over myself by not moving out of fear so many times. Then now it's like, come on. Yeah, I'm absolutely scared. I might even feel a little foolish, but let's just try anyway, right? So thank you for saying the fear-proof part, because a lot of people stay in that stuck place because they just don't take one step. Is this what separates you from fear and getting the work done, and you doing it instead of somebody else.
All right, VA fam, the tea is piping hot. More with my interview with Paige Turner when we come back. I'm just excited to learn about what you as a woman, like how you have created these 3 young women who are out in the world. And I want to know, like, how is that legacy building and how is that going for you?
Well, they're probably your age. How old are you, Mandi?
37.
Okay, well, you're close enough.
They're younger.
Okay? You guys are in the same decade, They're 30 and the twins are 28. The oldest one is married, probably right behind you, getting ready to have some babies, which I'm not ready to be a grandma yet, but that's crazy. I just got a dog, Tupac. He stresses me out. I can't imagine.
All right, LA girl.
A baby. I know, right? That's so LA, right?
My mom says all the time, she's like, you guys have it so much harder than I did.
You do.
There's too much information now, too many rules. It's
so
hard.
You guys care. I mean, in my generation, my mom would just say, there used to be a commercial, Mandi, that said, when I was little, I was like 12 or 13, and it said to my parents' generation, do you know where your kids are? It's 11 o'clock. Because they didn't care. We were out. As long as we got home by the time the street lights came on the weekends, it was 10 o'clock. We were good. So, you guys have it a lot harder than we did. But, they're good. And, I guess raising them with legacy in mind, and I used to always drill into them. We're life changers. We're living in full expectation of God's greatest gift in our life, and, turn your light on.
Oh, Lord.
I probably made them crazy.
Okay.
Crazy. But now I see that the seeds I was planting is now their fruit, and it's now their harvest, because they're degreed up and they have choices and they have opportunities, and now it's time for them to go and catch their own dreams, and it's time for me to keep living in mine, because I'm young enough. I feel great to go and be on television. My first time I was on TV, I was 47, so you mentioned that I wasn't an overnight success, but when I look back, it's never too late. I created a show and I pitched a show and I got the show on accident on HGTV. That was the first show, and I was 47. And I waited until my last daughter got into college. I was like, it's my time now. My mom named me Paige Turner for a reason, so let me go and catch those dreams, because I'm done with the kids. Thank you.
I know. I just talked about it last time, but I'm like, is this your name on purpose? Because that's incredible.
Yep.
So good.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama.
I mean, you talked about your mom was an optometrist. Did she own her own practice when you were growing up?
My mom and my dad. My dad, they owned Page Optical, and they were in the Crenshaw community in Los Angeles, and they did all of the glasses, those big glasses that were in style back in the day with rhinestones. They designed them all for Black Hollywood back in the 70s and 80s, like the Stevie Wonders and the Sammy Davis Juniors and Tom Bradleys and the football players. So they were very in the Black community, and they were both optometrists. And my oldest sister's an optometrist, and her ex-husband's an optometrist, so they put everybody in the family on that path.
Wow. I mean, we talked about your early career and working with Spike Lee, Magic Johnson, which if you want to hear all about that, go listen to the other episode. It's really good. Go to the show notes and click it. But I didn't realize what kind of a different path you were taking than your family. That's always fun to be a little bit different. Were they supportive of that? No.
Well, no. It was because I had kids. That's why my path changed. If it were up to, my dad passed away when I was 8, but if it were up to him, I would have been an attorney. I would have carried on the family business. It was called Page Optical, So once he died, our whole family shifted. The optical shop shut down. So everything kind of just shifted.
Oh.
And my mom's a free spirit. So she was like, honey, just go and dance with the Hare Krishnas on the beach in Santa Monica if you want to. Be a butterfly. You'll find your way. So, where my dad was a complete opposite. He would have been like me, how I raised my kids. Nope. You go to school, and I don't care. Once you get your degree, you can go do what you want. You can go panhandle. I don't care. As long as you're degreed up, my job is done, And I don't have a degree. I opted out of college, and I went to a private school, and I was like, But I was coming up in a day where you became successful by who you knew. And I knew everybody because I grew up in the entertainment industry just by growing up in Los Angeles. So, no, I wish I would have been on that path, but there were other ideas for me in this life, and I raised 3 beautiful girls, which is how I got to Nashville. Couldn't afford LA. I was like, I'm going to die poor, all of us. So by faith, that's another story for another day, but we moved to Nashville, and I raised them, and when the last one graduated from college, I packed my bags and came right back home to LA in 2019.
I know for sure, BA fam, somebody listening right now really needed to hear you say 47, really needed to know that whatever they're dreaming about, whatever they think they should have started 5 years ago, I should have started it when I was 22 or 32. Like, what if I had done it? You can start it now.
Yeah.
You can dream something now. You can make that pitch. You can... I have a career coaching community called the Mandi Money Makers, and one of the little tasks I gave a maker recently was to just go open an LLC. She has a business. She's starting to get clients. I'm like, you need an LLC. There's tax advantages. And it's been like pulling teeth just to push her in that direction. But it finally happened, and I'm so proud.
Oh.
And I think she too, and even me to a certain extent, 37 is a little closer to 40 than 36 felt. And I'm closer to 38 than 37 if I'm being honest. And I need to hear that too, because I want to achieve so many huge things in the next decade, and we got to hear more examples of that. We need Paige Turners, Viola Davises, like Taraji P. Henson's. We need these examples of women in a seasoned age of their life.
Yes, that's what I call myself. I'm seasoned. I'm a seasoned saint. I can't believe it, actually. But, well, you just imagine turning 52. I'm like, what the? Because I remember like being 37 and 52 was so far off, right? But
Yeah.
look at what can happen. I literally had a dream at 46, wrote it down, replied to an email. 2 weeks later, I'm shooting a sizzle. 3 months later, I'm shooting a pilot. And I just turned 47. And now here we are on the third show, same network. It's because I just did it anyway. And going back to being fear-proof, all of the things I had to work through in my mind at 46, just saying, first of all, who's going to green light? I don't even know what green light meant back then. A green light a show for a whole 46-year-old. You know, I mean, like, how do you just say, I want to be on TV. I'm 46. But
You know, they thought you were probably 30.
Well, they probably did, but the truth is that I wasn't.
Gening.
Thank you. But the truth is that I wasn't. And so you still go through in your head like, okay, I'm way too old to start my career in TV. I've known people just being from Los Angeles that have been trying to get a commercial since we were 18 in high school, and they still haven't made it. So you're talking about 30 plus years and they're still trying to make it in an industry. And here I am like, I'm going to send an email and by faith, I'm just going to see if it works. And it did. Now, what if I didn't have that confidence to push through that fear and I never sent the email? I would have never been on your show twice. And what a disservice I would have done to myself.
Let's not even think about it. I'm sure you still would have been thriving because you were the queen of HUD. Remember, you were the queen of,
no.
We talked about that journey. But you're so right. Like, people spend a lot of time thinking about, well, what if I had done this? Where would I have been? Well, also, like, flip that. What if you never do it? Like,
what if you never do it? Like the alchemist, like the glass maker never did it. And who knows what he could have been going on that journey of alchemy. Who knows what could have happened? And I think that's where the regret and where the real fear and the real failure comes in of not doing what you absolutely had the strength, the purpose, and the pathway to do. I had all the goods, and had I not done it just because, oh, I'm 46. Oh, you know, everybody on TV starts at 20. You know, oh, I've never been on TV. How can I have the audacity to think that I can do something like television? That's the space I'm in right now. I have the audacity to move how I want to move and get what I want and do what I want to do.
Why do I think about different personalities and how much I would love to be at a game night with you. I think you'd be so much fun.
A game night?
Because you want to win. Like, you're a winner. Do you? And part of Love It or List It is the competition of it. I know it's a bit, I mean, from the, I'm sure a bit of it is like, construed, and like you guys have to feed into those, like, you're on team Love It, I'm on team List It, and there's that rivalry, that kind of dance. But that's what makes it fun to watch, is you want to see who's going to outsmart the other. So does that competitive nature come naturally to you? Is it just because, like, you want to be in your highest power?
Yes, I'm an LA girl. I mean, you were either going to sink or swim. I literally nobody taught me how to swim. I think my parents just threw me in the ocean and we just started swimming. Like, I was never, you have to learn that if you want to win, in LA and New York, those are two cities that if you don't kick their asses, those cities will kick yours. So you have to know how to grind. You have to know how to win. You have to know how to get ahead and massage your journey with it too, because there's so many highs and lows that a lot of people are like, I can't do it, I'm out, and they have to move. Like, I did it. I was like, I can't do this. LA kicked my butt with 3 kids. I thought I was going to die. So I was like, okay, so I found Nashville. And then I nested there. I raised them there. And then they flew the coop. And then I came back because now, all right, I can do it again. So, yeah, I'm very competitive. Now, don't watch Rock the Block because the people didn't like me on Rock the Block because my true competitive, not even all of it, just a portion of my competitive nature came out. The people weren't ready for that. Not on this network. Maybe on another network, but on this network, they weren't ready for this.
Okay, so talk to me about the dynamics of Love It or List It, because for those who don't know the show, I mean, I don't understand how you don't know it, but Love It or List It, you have a homeowner couple who is, for whatever reason, they're not happy in their home anymore. Usually it's because it's not enough space, something has changed, they want this, they want a deck, they want a laundry room, they're tired of this. One of the spouses or the homeowners wants to stay, and the other one is like, no, I'm done with this house, we need to move. So Paige, you have assumed the Love It co-host seat. So you, with all your experience of flipping houses and renovating, you come in and your goal is to create the house that will create the renovations and create the transformation that's going to make this couple stay. That's how you win. But then you got David. What's his last name? David?
Vicentine.
Vicentine. He is the listed guy. So he's the realtor. He's the one who's like, oh no, I'm going to find them their dream home. They're going to just get this dream home and leave this mess behind. And then you get how much time to turn over these homes? Like what actually happens?
Well, there's
How
no
much
time
is that?
limit. There's no on one actual episode. I mean, the renovation takes as long as it takes in real life. So it could be 3 months. We've had, I think, our longest renovation last year was when we were filming was probably 7 months. It was a really big one.
Whoa.
So that's just
Okay.
the renovations are real time. But at the end of the renovation, after David has shown the homeowners 3 different homes to live in, they have to choose, do they want to list the house, and it's already renovated, so they love it, of course. But listen, the thing is that once I have completed the redesign and the renovation, they have a ton of equity. So they want to take that equity and move, or do they want to say, you know what, we loved this house when we moved in. It's just over the last 10 years we've grown to not love it anymore, and now we want to live in it as a love it space. So they pick in real time while we're filming, and David and I do not know if they're going to say love it or list it.
So where are they when the house is being renoed?
They go and live somewhere else. They go and get an apartment or go with family, and they promise, and I think 95% of them don't. I know of one homeowner that did, not to come in and check on the house. So they don't see the house at all. So once we get done and I have staging done, it is a complete surprise to them. And then when we're sitting in real time filming and I say, okay, are you going to love it? And David says, or are you going to list it? We do that 3 times. And on the 3rd time, they go, love it. So we're like, okay. So, all of that is real.
Oh, okay. It feels real. Okay, that's really good to know. So the reason I fell out of love with HGTV, like I said, is my husband and I. You're probably going to be like, we got our house. I had too much money. I knew what to do with it when I was 27, 28. Well, no, how old was I? 28. I had done well in my career. I had a lot of money sitting in my account. We knew we wanted to do something with it. My husband was like, let's get a house. And I this was pre-kids, and we were living in a luxury apartment building, and I loved my commute to the city, and I was like, well, I don't want to get too much house. I don't want to get too much house. I don't want to have too much yard. It's all maintenance and stuff. So I compromised. I was like, let's get a house, but it's going to be a cute little house in the suburbs, and everything compared to New York City apartments was like, it felt big. So we found this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, Cape Cod style, horrible, in a neighborhood that has a lot of history. We found a neighborhood that actually is majority minority, and has a lot of Black culture, a lot of like history here of Black middle class families being able to thrive in this community. So we did stuff that makes no sense because we didn't have kids at the time. This is way too much detail. But the point is, yeah. So we are like busting out the seams, and I see the potential, and I want to I love our neighbors. I love our community. My kids in the school system now. I ain't trying to move. Like, it's real expensive. If we sold the house at top dollar, I don't know what we could afford, in this area.
Yeah.
There's such low inventory. Like,
well, that's what happens with David. That's how his job is so hard because people don't want to change their kids' school, especially in your neighborhood. And I just heard about New York schools and how people have to fight to get into these better schools. And like, whoa, like one of my friends lives in Jersey but commutes to New York. It's a lot to keep her kids in a good school. And so that's his fight. Like, people don't want to move. They have their kids, They just want to figure out how can we make it work with what we have. And that's where I come in. I'm like, I can make it work.
Yeah.
Add
And
some
you get
built-ins.
How does a homeowner like me, like, what would you say? Because I watched the first episode of the show, and you did such a beautiful job. And I don't know, those homeowners, they're a bit sassy for me. I'm like, could you just chill? Are they really like that, or are they coached to be a little sassy?
They may be coached, but I don't hear it. When I watch the show back, I could tell by my facial expression, like.
I have now, having gotten to know you a little bit better, I know you weren't like, come on, that one lady was a bit. But if we don't have Naya's room, I'm not staying. I'm like, okay.
She
and then
met
she
that
cried.
Too.
She cried real hard in that walk-in pantry, though.
She cried in the basement. She cried in the pantry. She was so happy. She actually had those babies in the house, like home births. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she wanted to move, but at the same time, David was showing them. They were like, Actually, no. I take that back. On that, I think the second house was really great for them. They would have had to renovate the kitchen and do some more work, but
Yeah.
I would have left. I was like, I would have even left because that was a good house. But like in your case, I mean, you have to pull out some money. You have to spend a little bit more money to if you guys are going to stay, right?
That's so it's like I want to talk about the nitty gritty of that because what's holding me back is like, so we could do a home equity loan, right? I've
Mhm.
talked on the podcast about home equity loans. So you tap into the equity you have in your home. We are not as cash liquid as we were back then when I had 120K to
Mhm.
invest in the house. I wish I
Mhm.
had just, I mean, I don't wish I had waited, but because we still waited to have, we had kids a couple years later and all that. But now I feel like I really know what we need.
Yeah.
Um, how many years in, 7, 8 years into living here. I
And two
sometimes,
babies. Give
and two
yourself some grace.
babies.
You don't know until you know with kids. You don't know until you know. That's
And
just
I
it. Give
actually
yourself that
kind of
grace.
want, I kind of want a third, which is another reason we need more space.
I know.
Um, yeah,
that
I
third.
know.
Listen, I have three. That third changes the game, Mandy.
Well, you actually had twins. Were the twins older or younger?
No, they were younger, so I was forced into the
Okay.
changed game. But three
Okay.
changes the game. Two has been like I'd have been rich earlier. Three is
Oh,
another
my
level.
days. Okay. I know, I know. That's what I say all the time. I'm like, I'm not rich enough yet. I need to make more money
Yes.
because $2,500 a month for daycare is almost my mortgage. It's crazy out here. So,
Oh my
home equity
God.
loans, like, and one of the things we talked about on the show last time that you were kind of like another episode is like sort of when you're in a tough situation financially, what tips you may have for homeowners who do want to upgrade, but I still can't. Part of me is like, we've already put 100K in. It almost, I think I'm being a little bit too harsh on myself. I'm like, well, that was a mistake, and I don't want to. It's like throwing more money at it. Does it ever make sense to do another, big reno versus
No.
just move on?
So there's a few factors, as you know, from teaching your classes and everything with home equity lines. Yeah, you can pull money out, but that's another note. So let's start with that's another note. In addition to daycare, in addition to I think I want a third baby, in addition to dot dot dot,
I
it's
know.
another bill. So you have to think a few things. Number one, how much is that bill going to be extra until we pay it off? Number two, how much value is it going to add on this house should my husband wake up one day and say, we have got to move? Because what you don't want to do is break even. What you don't want to do is, after you pay all these realtor fees, it's like, well, what was the point? All we did was add whatever second renovation you need to make your family, yes, work better. But if you think there's a small chance that you guys are going to go, then don't use the equity because you've already done an upgrade. So it might not fit your family now, but it might fit somebody else's family. Because if you max yourself out with your equity and with the value of your house, then what? Then you're going to go to the table, sell your house, break even, and not have any money to go to your next house, depending on what you want and need to do. That's number one. Number two, we're in a world where tariffs are nigh. And so that is real. So in new construction, that's a whole other episode. But in renovation, you still need lumber. You still need whatever else, your fixtures and your flooring and everything. And we're talking about 25% markup that's going to come down to the consumer. It's not going to come down to the importer. I mean, because if I'm Home Depot, let's say, and I'm like, okay, here's the 25% on tariffs. Well, I'm going to pass it along to Mandi, who has to do her renovation project. I'm not going to absorb that and affect my bottom line as a middleman. I should, but I got to make money to keep my business open. So, Mandi, you and your husband go figure out, all this extra money we have to now have for this renovation project. And is it worth it? Now, your babies are so young right now that you have some time to figure this out.
Do I? Feels
Well,
like,
I mean,
you
you're
know
an A
what?
personality, so maybe not your brain doesn't, but in real life
Yeah.
you do. In real life you
Uh,
do.
Fair. I liked some of the adjustments you made to their home in terms of like adding built-ins and storage because the fight
Yeah.
is always around storage. So
Yeah.
like if I'm wanting to, it's been 7 years. I forget even how we found our contractor. Where do I start? What's the perfect person who can like, do I need a designer? I just need someone with a creative mind who can see the possibility for storage space that I
Yeah.
think is here. Is that
Yeah.
a designer? Is that an
That
architect?
well, you don't. No, not for a renovation. You don't have to hire an architect, but you do have to find a contractor. And sometimes contractors they can do a lot of times a new floor plan for you and give you suggestions, or you can just call me, Mandi. We're friends. I can help you with that. But or find somebody local who will walk it through with you, who is a designer that works with the contractors. They can work in tandem and get it done. I mean, it's a hard place. Oh, contractors, you have to start with your sphere of influence. You have to find somebody who has used somebody, and not just by like, oh yeah, my uncle's sister's cousin's brother can do it for you. I need to see their work. How long did it take, and how much did you spend? Like, I need hands-on references so that I don't get got. Mm-hmm. Especially in the world of tariffs where everything might be going up.
Yeah.
And people are passing on that charge to us. You know, I've always had a family home. So we lived in the same, I grew up in the same house in LA. And so that was my goal for my kids. But so many single mothers have to move around every year, every 6 months. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I bought a house when I got to Nashville. I lived in that house for 16 years with them. So they had the same friends, same school, same cul-de-sac. So when I came home, I wanted to move into a high rise, and I was looking, I never had a doorman, you know, I want to do all the fancy stuff. So I was looking out my window on the 26th floor, and I said, what if I would have just taken one more day to fight a little bit harder, to fight through that fear, and stayed in LA? Who would have my kids been? Who would have I been? How much further would I've gotten in my career, if any? You know, there's always a divine plan that works out, but I did think about that. I think about it all the time. What would I have done had I just fought through one more day?
But, you know, you live and you learn, and what ended up happening is exactly what was supposed to happen, because I would have never been in Nashville to think of a show called Flipping X's that turned into Flip or Flop Nashville. It would have never happened.
Then you wouldn't have been the top choice for Love It or List It.
Look at God.
So, with all the journey that you're on now, how are you giving yourself space for self-care? How do you avoid burnout? Do you feel like you're still pushing to achieve? Or have you found space for softness as well?
Oh my gosh, Mandy, that is such a good question, because I am such, like, I'm so hard on myself. And just in the last 3 months have I found myself in a very soft space, being very kind to myself and being able to exhale and being able to be loved and to be able to love, like, and it's lovely. But I still get up, I still work out. I'm still like, okay, you know, my to-do list is still looks like a maniac, right? But I'm just in a space of, it's so cliche, but a space of grace now, where it's like, girl, enjoy this. Enjoy all of this. Like, whoo. You know, and I've been on this show. I've been on that show. You know, I've been on Jennifer Hudson last year. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I was so like, and I was in a robotic mode that this year, even a girlfriend of mine said, Paige, watching you on Love It or List It, there's a new piece. And I knew, like, all is well. You know, it's okay. We're like on Fix My Flip, and the other show I was more rigid and more like, you know, sitting at the negotiation tables, my arms crossed and, you know, my leg crossed. And now I feel that, like, my heart and my soul and my mind is just like, all is well. Even if it's not, all is well.
Well, you mentioned, you know, you had to really take on that. And I think any woman building their career, and you were in the 90s, like really like in your formative career years, and you're taking in that masculine energy. And I do feel like I've heard that often from like the Gen X, you know, generation of kind of being forced to take on, like, that's how you survived. That's how you were going to make it. Yeah. And that served you in so many ways. But at a certain point, we also have this like feminine energy that is powerful as well. And like, I'm excited for you. And I'm glad to hear that, because I think you deserve to be in that soft era, and it's not weakness. You can still be a baddie and get shit done. Yeah.
But who knew?
Take care of
yourself.
Because
coming up in the 90s and into the 2000s so strong, excuse my French, but that's when boss bitch and bad bitch, all that. And I don't play with that B word. I've never referred to myself as that. And if I say that word, it's because we're in a different space and time.
It just rolled off the tongue, though. I don't know if I believe you.
Well, because I know how to cuss. I know many things. But you know, I woke up like, I've been to feminine energy classes, circles of soft girl era classes. Like, where is she? Because I go so hard I went so hard raising my kids. I'm so hard in my business, so hard on TV, so hard negotiating, so hard working out, so hard on my body, you know what I'm saying? And my brain and my heart, and just like, and I've been to classes and classes and classes, like, no, where does this soft girl live? Because I have yet to meet her. And I think I was lied to, because I don't want to be a boss bitch. I think this is hard. there has to be an easier way to life than this. And you know,
so
being a
real.
single mom too, like I had to wear this cape, this superwoman cape. I always rejected though when men or anybody would say to me happy Father's Day, like, I don't want that smoke. I don't be nobody's daddy, you know, just as being a single mom, like, you know, you're doing both. I said, I'm actually not, because I don't know, I'm not a man. I don't know how to teach them, you know, blah, blah, blah. But just in probably this last year, really finding her and doing the work to find this soft, you know, and in fact, even in my design, probably starting 2 years ago, I didn't realize I'm putting in soft edges on islands. I'm really doing a lot of rounded work. Like I'm softening the spaces that I'm in. And even at home, I'm softening everything up. You know, I used to be like, black, 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 gold, gold, gold. And I'm like, pink, yellow. You know, I'm
Good
like,
on you.
thank you. I'm like, cream, you know. And I love this space. So thank you for saying that. It's a beautiful space to be in.
So what does that look like for you? What are your go-tos for when you want to tap into that soft girl? Maybe someone listening now is also feeling like you did. Like, where is she? You know, I
Well, I
can't
had to do the
meditate.
work to
I can't
find
turn
her.
my brain off.
Well, that's the thing, forcing yourself to meditate. I had to. I had to start buying the books. I had to start doing the workbooks. I had to start, literally, my girlfriend does feminine energy classes, Heidi. I had to go to sound bowls and just retrain my
A sound
brain.
bath. I love it.
A sound bath, sorry, sound bath.
I know
And
what
I
you
had, thank you. I had to and I still do retrain my brain because, you know, just coming up in the era of this Gen X world, I bought into all the hype, you know, because I had to be the hype. You know, I was living the hype. And I didn't know about soft girl anything. I didn't know. So now I do it by continuing to do that work. I have to be in prayer. I have to be in meditation. I have to keep my affirmations up. I have to remember I'm responding and not reacting. What's funny is that it's natural now. Like, I don't want to react. I just want my peace. It actually started 2.5 years ago. I put up this boundary called Peace and Plenty. It was a book that I read 10, 15 years ago. And I remember who the author is, but she wrote a book called Peace and Plenty. But all I know is those were my two go-to words that I would say, hey, you are interrupting my peace and plenty. I can't do this. I'll be back. You know, and I would go reset myself. But I didn't realize until this very moment, that was my beginning of softening myself up, the soft girl era, and being like, oh, boundaries. Oh, boundaries for myself. Like, Paige, if you do this, that keeps you feisty. You know, try this. So you have to try new things. You have to retrain your brain. And it's still, you still have to commit to do the work. So there's still a work that has to be done. And that's what I'm still doing.
Are your kids like, what's happened, Mom? Did they notice a difference?
Yes. My youngest, she lives in New York. She just said when I was there a couple weeks ago, she said, Mommy, you're so different now. Like, you're just calm. Because I've always been like, let's go. We got to win. We can do it. Turn your light on. Crazy. And she was like, you're so chill. And I was like, I'm in my soft girl era. Like, I'm good.
Yeah. That blood pressure is probably looking real good.
I mean, my doctor was like, last year, I have to go to my physical this year yet, but hey, you're good. See you next year. I'm like, thanks.
Well, I hope I hope the show is super successful in its 20th season. You must feel a little bit of that, hopefully not too much, but the pressure of carrying on the legacy. And I've just seen the first episode, and I think that you did a killer job. I don't know what the commenters are on. I don't think you should read the comments. HGTV's audience is broad.
When they're very feisty.
And forward enough to be leaving comments. You know what I mean?
And they can be cuckoo. I look every now and then. Pre-show, I did look. Okay. Total transparency. I did look when the show was first announced. Oh, they came for me. Oh my God. Oh God.
Really?
Oh, they tore me to shreds. Post premiere, it's everybody give her a chance. She's doing really good. Now they're fighting for me. I'm like, well, look at Miss Karen fighting for me. So, you know.
You do great banter. That's the best part about the show is I love banter, and it's hard to find someone who won't get their feelings hurt. And I just feel like you guys have an understanding. We're going to give each other shit, and we're each going to just we're here to play, you know?
Yes.
It's a bit of a show, like an improv of who can get the best zinger, and that's always
and he
fun
does
as a
so well
viewer.
with it. He does so well. And one thing about David, and I told him this, there's many changes on the show from the original host who I give honor to. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for her, right?
Yeah.
And it
What's
is
her
an
name?
anchor
I
show.
feel bad I forgot.
Hillary Farr.
Hillary Farr. Are you going to
Yes.
love it or list it? That's my
Exactly.
ode to her.
You know, I had to stop watching the show because I didn't want to accidentally take that on. I was like, I can't watch it. So, love it, because if I said that, I would
list it.
die. I would die. But you know,
that's so
just
funny.
being able to carry this legacy on has been pretty cool.
Oh, well, I know you're the woman for it. And I hope we get to chat again. And this soft girl era, I'm very, very happy for you.
Thank you, Mandy.
And to everyone listening, I think that we are trying to get, it's like, okay, so you went boss, B word, you know, for all those years, and now you're in your soft girl. I think some of us are like in the soft girl and we're like, oh, wait, we got to make money still. Oh. Wait a minute. Well, soft girl era is expensive.
It is expensive.
$55 for a sound bath? Like, come on. I was like, maybe I can just do Spotify and, you know, put some cereal bowls and like tap them. I don't know. Like, the nails, the hair, like, oh, Lord.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But
you
a
know,
walk will do a lot. A walk
It
and
will.
some nice,
Yeah.
some vibrations.
Yes, it does. It does it well. It does it well.
Well, much success to you. Thanks again for sharing so much of
Aw.
yourself with me on the show and for taking the time. And everyone, go watch Love It or List It. I streamed it on Max. I don't know how the rest, probably you got HGTV on your cable networks, but you know, thank goodness
Yeah.
it's streaming on Max for my Cut the Plug girlies.
Thank you for your time and your continued interest in me and my career, and being so kind and having such good conversation and being here for us brown girls. That's it.
All right,
Ugh.
VA fam, go check out Paige Turner. I'll put her social in the show notes and the link to the show in the show notes. Don't mess with her peace or her plenty while you're at it,
Please.
okay?
Please.
Positive vibes only, VA fam.
Yes. Yes.
All right.